Hi, Mark here from Hamilton Court. Welcome to FXcellence. In this series, we're bringing you the key themes of strategic risk management, but without getting stuck in the complexities. Today, we're talking Treasury policies, so we should probably start with what they are and why you should have one. Treasury policy is a living document that governs how you effectively manage your Treasury, from identifying and mitigating risks to trade execution procedures and parameters. Having an effective Treasury policy in place gives the business a clear structure and gives those in the driving seat a prescriptive process that acts as guardrails to stop anyone from going off-piste. Businesses of all sizes can and do benefit from having a Treasury policy, but to be fit for purpose, our view is that any policy needs to be practical and workable. This is going to mean different things to different people, and the size of your team and the complexity of your Treasury function will be big determinants of whether this is one side of an A4 or a novel-sized handbook. However, we think the foundations of the policy remain the same. Identifying the risks that your company faces, establishing what your appetite is for each one of those risks, agreeing how you manage each level of risk in the business, assigning who manages it for the company and which counterparties you manage it with. And then there's reporting on risk. Who's reporting, how they're reporting, and what that reporting is ultimately for. Firstly, chances are that there's FX risk in the group. This could be operational cash flow FX or more balance sheet and fair value type of FX risk. Secondly, if there's debt in the group, you've also got interest rate risk to consider. Thirdly, you're going to want to consider counterparty risk, and that is who you're using to transact in FX or manage interest rates, and whether you have enough counterparties for the business to be diversified. So imagine you're a business that turns over 30 million a year, all domestically, but you have a software license cost that's about $20,000 a month. You're going to be less concerned about this as a risk than if you were a business that generated £30 million of income, but from all corners of the world in all kinds of currencies. If you have different exposures for different streams of the business, then it's best to break them down and consider each of them individually. So continuing with our example, your business may manage its long-term contract income differently to its ad hoc, low-value sales. Or you may have expenditure in dollars, which means you won't apply the same hedging ratio to US dollar income, as you'll want to spend some of those dollar receipts. Understanding these different streams will enable you to put a framework around each one and help you in agreeing some process flows to manage it. It might be as simple as when we've received a signed purchase order for foreign consultancy, we book a forward contract for the exact amount due to settle on the payment due date. Alternatively, with larger tenders, there could be actions as the tender moves through the stages, such as purchasing an option if you reach the final tender stage and converting that option to a forward contract when you win the business. The details of these will be specific to you and can all be easily agreed. The point is, the stakeholders know what the process is and who's responsible for managing it. Another consideration is whether or not you have a hierarchy for your banking transactions. If you do you also want to think about something similar for your FX and your rates trades? Also, you may have a panel of providers or just the one. If it's the former, are there criteria that dictate who gets what type of business? These can be completely bespoke to you, but if you do have set allocations, then document them so you can abide by them and also report on them. And lastly, on the reporting. Treasury policy is a working document, and the only way to know if it's working is to periodically review what you've done and to see whether it was in line with the policy and if that gave you the desired outcome. If it did, brilliant. If it didn't, what would you change, and would that have impacted other elements within the policy? Invariably, it's the board that signs off the policy, but it's not the board that has to live with it. So for the benefit of the business, the communication needs to be two-way and the process collaborative, in order this becomes a business enabler and not just a straitjacket. We're here to simplify FX. Get in touch with one of our friendly and knowledgeable experts and let's see how FX strategy can drive commercial impact in your business.